Okay. Next Friday, Special Agent Justin Soroka. He's going to be here on the 25th. It's going to be in person only. For those individuals at home, I'm going to pick something off of YouTube and rebroadcast a previous presentation. And then the next Friday, November 1st, Black and White competition. It's a projection competition. November 8th, B competition, projection. November 15th, critique night. 3 photos, mail them in to info@clevelandphoto.org. Put critique in the subject of your email, please. November 7th, we're going to have our monthly SIG meeting. Dave Bush is going to talk about architecture photography, and he even intimated that he might touch base on street photography just a little bit. But don't hold me to that. Introduction to mat cutting and photo mounting. We've got 4 dates on the schedule: November 5th, 19th, December 3rd, and December 17th, 7 to 9 p.m. Dennis asked me to make an announcement. I guess some people have been coming in with their photos that they wanted to cut mats for. And Dennis would rather reserve the class evenings for those students that want to come in and learn so that they have time to practice cutting mats rather than having people cut mats for a particular exhibit, print night. So the new rules have been posted on the website. Before we said you couldn't come in on print night, print competition nights. We also ask that you don't come in and have cut mats on mat cutting class nights unless you're coming in to learn how to cut mats. This slide's back. We haven't seen this one in quite a while, so I thought I'd throw it in there just kind of as a reminder. You can watch all the presentations except Zoom presentations on YouTube. Click up on the icon in the upper right corner and then click on live, and you can watch the presentations or the competitions live from home. Darkroom door is out, so check it out on the website. And don't be critical of my photo. It was the only photo I had. I'm camera shy. Mike Ormiston is going to be one of our judges for this evening. And let me find Mike's information. Mike Ormiston has been doing photography and darkroom work since he was 11 years old. He received a BFA from Kent State University and signed on with American Greetings in 1977, where he was involved in darkroom and studio work. He soon joined the Creative Photo Studio staff, where he continued working until 2017. This involved commercial shooting of people, setting up at travel locations, and using studio work for cards and calendars. His recent personal work tends more towards illustration, using photos as a basic element. Mike was also an adjunct instructor at Cuyahoga Community College from 1978 to 2016, originally teaching basic and advanced color courses, as well as black and white and studio and digital imaging. The next is Nadia Salome. I went on her website, and her photography, wow, it is just phenomenal. Nadia is an international award-winning photographer. She received her certification as well as her Master of Photography degree an accolade shared by very few photographers worldwide. Her two passions are embedded deeply in photography and travel as she honors cultural traditions and old ways of life, which she continuously challenges herself in search of capturing portraits of people whose lives appear different on the surface and who have held on to the traditions of their circumstance. She exudes a wonderful style in classic portraiture, keeping the elements simple and uncluttered while focusing on the soul with a personal connection and wonder. Nadia's direct sense of competition and vibrancy of color is flawless and gripping. And finally, our last judge is Rudy DeLang. Is that correct, Wally? Delana? Thank you. I knew I was going to mess that up. Rudy taught photography and graphic design at colleges and universities in South Africa. He furthermore supervised postgraduate students in visual communication, photography, and interior design. He retired and keeps himself busy with road running, assisting a few postgraduate students, going fishing, and when bored, binging on Netflix. And those are our judges for the evening. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And give me 1 second.
Okay. Okay. Bill Keaton, A Dance of Passion.
I got comments on this one. Yeah, these are commented.
My apologies.
Okay, so Nadia says, I like the moment the maker captured this image. There is separation between each facial profile, which adds strength and impact to the image. Good job. I also like the way the maker cropped the image, leaving just enough to tell the story without any additional distractions. I would recommend the maker remove the writing below the woman's head. The white writing creates a distraction to the eye, being the brightest part of the image. Removing the text would keep the eye on the subject's overall nice image.
Bill Keaton, A Dance of Passion, 22 points, third place.
Rudy's comment, an evocative and well-framed portrait with perfect depth of field. The man repaired his spectacles, curled his mustache, and fluffed his beard. Is it for the photographer, or is someone waiting for him at home? Do we have an emotional resources to care for our seniors? A photograph that evokes questions and makes one think.
Bill Keaton, A Wink and a Grin, 22 points, third place.
Mike says, this image makes me smile because of the size relationship between the man and the car. Having red with red also draws the relationship of the two together, reinforcing the size humor. The simplicity of the background also takes me into the main action.
John Paganini, British Inspection, 21 points.
Nadia says, this is a fun and exotic image. The maker captured a nice natural expression on the younger man. For a stronger image, I would recommend having placed the men to the right of the image and camel, instead of directly in front of covering the camel. The older man looks uncomfortable. I would have had him looking away from the camera. Perhaps looking to the side at the camel instead of straight into the camera. Also, when and if possible, spending more time interacting with your subject helps put them at ease and will give you a more relaxed, natural expression. Another recommendation that would make this stronger. A stronger image is removing the older man from the image altogether, leaving the younger man exactly where he is.
Wally Nell, Camel Market Shenanigans, 21 points.
Rudy says, this striking image conjures questions for which we may not have answers. How long will we be able to preserve our traditions and cultures in a fast-changing, globalized world? Will our grandchildren have the knowledge to understand and appreciate our history? Why do our enemies disrespect our culture?
DJ Casanidi, Celebration Dance, 24 points, first place.
Keeping this composition simple, Mike says, was well done by good cropping without a lot of background. The subject's position has a lot of angles, which gives a dynamic look. The cup adds a nice touch, and the lighting had a good, sharp edge.
Robert Boyle, Coffee Time, 22 points, third place.
Nadia says, great action captured here. I would recommend cropping the bottom lighter part of the image out. Remember, one's eyes will always be drawn to the lightest part of the image. In this case, it takes the viewer away from the subject. Cropping the bottom out will keep the viewer's eyes on the athletic's face and ball, which has a lot of emotion and impact.
Joe DeStefano, Curveball Coming, 22 points, third place.
Rudy says, the subtle light on his clothes and the soft, out-of-focus background makes this a striking image that commands a viewer's attention. Is the smile to hide an injury? Does he have adequate medical care?
Paul Giglia, elderly man in Cortona, Italy, 20 points.
Mike says, lighting, composition, and cropping are all good and help to show the person in charge of a powerful machine. There's enough of the train showing to indicate size while keeping the subject large and visible. My only suggestion would be to experiment with showing less of the right edge. That is fairly quiet space in this composition.
Richard Adder, engineer on the 765, 24 points, first place.
Nadia says, I like the mystery and the mood of this image and the man seemed to have. The bars in the background add to the mystery and curiosity about his story. I also like his pose leaning forward and the angles his pose creates. Slight adjustment recommendations to make this a stronger image is crop off some of the top so his eye is placed at the top third of the image. Also remove the text and the design off the vest to minimize distractions. I would have had him look slightly more to the left so we see less of the white of his eyes.
Mike Kopkis, Evil Eye Stare, 20 points.
Rudy's comment. One is drawn immediately to the little girl's alluring gaze. The carefully and softly edited image conjures tranquility in a busy world.
Jackie, the last name is hyphenated and is truncated. I can't make out who it is. Any suggestions for people? What? Meredith. Far away from here, 23 points, second place.
A sweet photo of this child, Mike says, which shows innocence and beauty. The soft lighting and out-of-focus background are very good choices. Well done overall.
Marge Brady, Flona, 22 points, third place.
Nadia says, I like the relaxed feel between the man and his bird. The colors the man is wearing and the colors of the bird blend well together. I also like the way their eyes are aligned at a diagonal. A couple of thoughts that I think would make this image stronger would be to crop the image tighter, to crop out the bright sides, while aligning the top left corner diagonally along with their eyes coming down to the lower right corner. If the maker had the option to move the man and his bird, then I would have a recommendation of putting them in front of a solid background when the subjects are colorful. That would keep the attention to the subjects.
John Paganini, Friends, 21 points.
Rudy's comment. A tranquil image of life. A sensitive embrace that connects with loved ones. A privilege afforded to few and desired by many.
Fran Marino, Grief, the Loss of a Child, 21 points.
Mike says, although I might experiment a bit with cropping and camera tilt, the strengths of this image are technical. Lighting, shutter, and strobe speed, limited color, nicely done.
Susan Bestel, Happy Rainy Day, 24 points, first place.
Nadia says, the lighting on the musician is very nice. His face and guitar are well lit, creating light and shadows appropriately. What would make this image even stronger is capturing the moment the musician shows some emotion while singing or dancing. Showing some movement allows the viewer to feel connect. Showing some movement allows the viewer to feel the musician's energy.
Melanie Plummer, Henry Graza of Lost Lonely Boys, 20 points.
Rudy says, a frontier man from the Society of Northeast Ohio Brewers. Why do we as men want to conquer frontiers? Have we yet to recognize our own limitations?
Marie Descanu, what? Diaconu, sorry. I apologize. Hunter, 20 points.
The man is a powerful figure, Mike says. I like the environment he is standing in. I would like to see some different camera angles to make the picture more dynamic and powerful. Maybe a tighter crop to eliminate even more background might be interesting.
Susan Mahorsic, Imagine Dragons, Dan Reynolds, 22 points, third place.
Nadia says, I like how this image captures this man in an emotional moment. Nicely done. This image would be stronger if it told more of a story. Why is this man emotional? Did he just win or lose a fight? The highlights are blown out and lack detail, and his face seems soft, not sharply focused. Also, if the maker moved slightly to the left, then they could have created a slight separation between the man and the microphone.
Susan Mahorsic, Imagine Dragons, Dan Reynolds, 20 points.
Rudy's comment. A candid photograph of a well-groomed woman. The dark sunglasses make one wonder who is behind the veil. Are the pears real? I think he meant pearls. Or she, or he.
Brian Mohammed, in the shade, 17 points.
Mike says this is a good shot which shows a wise-looking man in the middle of making some point in a conversation. Coming in a bit closer or tilting the camera would further enhance the impact of this image.
Dave Saborik, Indian Holy Man, 20 points.
Nadia says the maker did a great job capturing a lovely smile on this woman. Connecting with one's subject is one of the hardest parts of photographing people. This maker clearly connected and made this woman very comfortable, which produced her sincere smile. A couple of things I noticed is that skin softening appears to be a little overdone and unnatural. It looks like the background was cut out and is not neatly done. Refining those two things would make this image stronger.
Joe yes, I know. Joe I give up. Okay. Joe, Ingrid, 17 points.
Rudy's comment. A viewer is immediately drawn to this beautiful and happy man. The gentle background with its muted color contrasts the person's alluring smile.
Jackie Sajeski, Inuit of Greenland, 21 points.
Good exposure technique, Mike says. I want to see more of the subject and less of the background. Having the guitar player not perfectly centered would add some more interest.
Melanie Plummer, Jojo Garza of Los Lonely Boys, 18 points.
Nadia says, this is a lovely capture. The serene scene, the colors are so appealing, I want to keep looking at it. I like how the maker off-centered the person in the boat. I think this would be even stronger if the image was cropped even more off the top and slightly from the right to put the subject in the rule of thirds, both top to bottom and left to right.
Jackie, Kayak at Sunrise, 23 points, second place.
Rudy's comment. Perfect lighting accentuates a musician and musical instrument. The dark surrounding provides a fitting frame for the young musician.
Mike Kopkis, Lost in the Music, 19 points.
Mike says nice three-quarter pose on the subject. This shows a lot of character through crop, camera angle, and especially lighting detail. Good work.
Marge Brady, Lucky Hat, 20 points.
Nadia says, this is a very lovely portrait. Love the expression and mood of the image. What would make this stronger is the positioning of the hand out of the frame altogether, or by laying her hand resting on her shoulder. Then the viewer would only see the side of her hand, so her hand is not so dominant in the image. Also, since the hand is closer to the camera than her face, the hand appears to be large and can be distracting. The background should be lit well to show separation between her dark hairline and the foreground.
Leslie Nutt, Maruna's Smile, 22 points, third place.
Rudy says, the soft lighting complements this tranquil portrait of a man. His piercing eyes ask the viewer a question, the words we will never know.
Dave Saborik, Mountain Man, 21 points.
Mike says an innovative way to view the subject and define him. Using an abstract approach such as this allowed the photographer to show the subject in a way as to reinforce his personality.
Wally Nell, Movie Wannabe, 24 points, first place.
Nadia says this is a great action shot. I would love to see more of the image or activity she is doing to understand more about the story and the sport she is partaking in. It is cropped a little too tight on the top, cutting a little out of her hand out.
Gary Wood, On the Board Again, 22 points, third place.
Rudy's comment? Dramatic and appropriate harsh lighting emphasizes the uncomfortable process of receiving a new mark.
Joe Smith, ouch, 21 points.
Mike says a beautiful photo of an idyllic setting. Everything works. Limited color, ethereal lighting, and thoughtful composition.
Richard Adder, Reading Under a Tree, 23 points, second place.
Nadia says, great moment captured here. The athlete is almost centered in the image. I think cropping so the athlete is positioned more to the left while leaving more space on the right is in the direction the ball is going would make this a little stronger.
Joseph Miko, returning a 200-mile serve, 20 points.
Rudy says, a thought-provoking street photograph of a mysterious lone man in front of a street procession. Is a confrontation to follow? Or is the man part of the procession and going to address the procession with the megaphone in his right hand?
Gary Marich, second line, 21 points.
Juxtaposing a cultural dance against urban architecture can be powerful, Mike says. It's still important to decide which of the two things should be visually dominant. Experimenting with additional shots, camera angles, and other would be fun. I like the crop overall.
Jackie Sayescu, Spinning Fire, 23 points, second place.
Nadia says, great image. The composition and cropping is done nicely. I think the man's skin appears blue, so a little color correction on the skin tone would make this a stronger image.
Jordan Tetzel, Spanish Zone, 22 points, third place.
Rudy says, icicles on fresh-cut shoots on a winter's day. The shallow depth of field brings the full-length portrait to the fore, while the woman's hair and beanie color draw a viewer to the person's happiness.
Fran Marino, Spring Pussy Willows, 23 points, second place.
Mike says it's a good thing to illustrate motion and action. In this photo, the lighting is a bit harsh and breaks up the elements, so it's harder to make out. If it is possible to change locations or lighting, things might be better.
Brian Mohammed, The Juggler, 19 points.
This image has impact, Nadia says. Images of people in uniform always seem to. I would like to have seen more of this story. Who else is there with him? Who is he saluting to and why? Including these things in an image would make it even stronger.
Kim, again, the last name is chopped, so I can't make it out. The rocket's red glare, 19 points.
Rudy's comment? A strongly edited photograph of a bike rally couple. Or is it just the t-shirt? The good news is that we do not need teeth whitening agents, just software.
Gary Marich, Umbrella Girl, 17 points.
A tight crop, low camera angle, and attention to detail in the elements of the picture all contribute to this successful image. Getting the lights in there adds to the interest.
Daniel Sandy, Vocal Explosion, 23 points, second place.
Nadia says, love this young lady's expression and smile. Nice capture of her. I think cropping the man on the left side of the image will remove the distraction and place one's focus on the woman's lovely expression and make a stronger image.
Lance Mayer, Wedding Guest Main Style, 18 points.
Rudy's comment? A charming portrait of a young boy with a charming smile. The soft and gentle light and out-of-focus background add to the genteel emotion of the image.
Brian O'Riordan, Young Civil War Reenactor, 20 points.
Nicely done, Mike says. A simple and straightforward approach to the subject with limited props all help to make this a classic image. Good lighting, not harsh.
Richard Boyle, Civil War Reenactor 23, 20 points.
Nadia says, I like the intensity and expression on this man. It has impact. It would be more powerful if it told more of the story, like what is the man doing? What is in his hand and what is he doing with it and to whom? It may be clear to the maker, but not to the viewer. So much more of the story would make this even more impactful.
Joe Smith, Focus, 21 points.
Rudy's comment? Two runners on an overcast day in an ideal running environment. At least one completed the Pine Street Mile event. The soft light and muted background colors belie the stress runners willingly endure during a hard run.
Jordan Tetzel, Jog on Lake Champlain, 19 points.
Mike says, the echoing repetition of subject and shadow make a strong visual attraction. The surface below the person is a very straight parallel line which divides the picture. How to deal with that, how to unite the elements a bit better is challenging.
Susan Bestel, Leap into Greatness, 24 points, first place.
Nadia says, this is a nice candid moment captured of this man seemingly relaxed in reading. I would like to have seen the environment around him to understand more of the story. Was he focused on the book while there was chaos around him? Is the title of the book relevant? Understanding more of his surroundings would help tell the story.
Kim, Lunch Break, 20 points.
Rudy says, a relaxed, candid portrait of a content senior citizen. The man's downward gaze holds the viewer's attention and makes one wonder what occurs outside the portrait frame.
G.J. Casanati, Prayers Before Battle, 19 points.
Mike says a moody picture that seems to illustrate retrospection and isolation. The strong and contrasting lighting heightens the viewer's awareness.
Daniel Sandy, Ray of Hope, 24 points, first place.
Nadia says, I like the emotion captured in this image. The man's expression looks like he's trying to communicate something to someone. I think showing who he's talking to would make this a stronger image. Tell more of this story. Also, darkening the background to tone down all the things in this image would center the focus on the man only and not everything in the background.
Paul Giglia, Street Vendor, Cortona, Italy, 18 points.
Rudy's comment. Two women with richly colored garments are in a deep conversation. Do they know what they have become? Do they know that they have become the gaze of the international community?
Gary Wood, Talk on the Street, 20 points.
A thoughtful composition, Mike says. Lots of rectangles arranged interestingly. The subject positioned 1/3 of the way in from the side. No diagonal lines indicate a static situation. I feel that the photographer was very aware of how they were of how they were composing this.
Kamala Orban, Waiting, 23 points, second place.
Yeah, so these are no comments. so
Okay.
we can- Yeah.
Bob Kowaleski, A Farmer's Morning, 25 points, second place. Denise Meekins, A Psalm of David, 22 points. Charles K., Akron Rubber Ducks, 21 points. Denise Meekins, Belsley Company, 20 points. Balsley Company. Rick Mills, Cleveland Air Show 2024, 22 points. Gary Wood, Collecting Pollen, 26 points, first place. Rachel Kovacs, Deer Encounter, 22 points. Joseph Mike, Eastern Kingbird, 23 points. Daniel Sandy, Floating Down the River, 21 points. Brian O'Riordan, Formation, 24 points, third place. Susan Bestel, Hale Farm Reenactor, 23 points. Kim Hobies, 23 points. Robert Boyle, Isaac Wise Temple, 25 points, second place. Ron Warman, Key Tower Reflection, 25 points, second place. David Kohorsek, Lower Dundee Falls? Lower Dundee Falls, there we go. 26 points, first place. Jerry Piano, Make a Wish, 21 points. Jerry Piano again, Moonlight Mushroom, 25 points, second place. Leslie Nutt, Morning, 21 points. Paul Giglia, Mountain Beauty in Tuscany, 21 points. Bonnie Lusko, Naples Arches, 23 points. Bonnie Lusko, Old Man of Store, Ireland, 22 points. Eric Botsky, On the Hunt, 24 points, third place. Ron Werman, Paintbrush Pens, 22 points. Joe Smith, Quiet Time, 23 points. Lance Mayer, Regensburg, Germany, 21 points. Maria Descanu, Rotunda, 21 points. David Korsek, Sunrise Holmes County, 25 points, second place. Rachel Kovacs, Symbol of Love, 23 points. GJ Casanetti, The Land for Life, 22 points. Bob Kowaleski, The Tufa and The Weed, 22 points. Jordan Tetzel, Twilight Together on Lake Erie, 20 points. Eric Botsky, what, help? Eric Botsky, Wise Woman of the Mountain, 23 points. Rick Mills, Wooden Lodges, or Ledges, Warden's Ledges, 24 points, third place. I'm going to take a second and rub my eyes so I can see better.
This should be comments. Nadia says, love this image. I like the blurred background, keeping this cub the focal point. I also like the cropping and off-centering of the cub's eyes. The only advice would be to darken the tree in the background a little to keep the eyes centered on the adorable animal.
Eric Botsky, After a Hard Day's Work, 24 points, third place.
Rudy's comment. A well-framed group portrait of two competing teams in appropriate sporting attire. Two captains or team leaders are about to discuss the game rules or the outcome of the game. The image tells a story known to the game players and strange to those unfamiliar with the event.
Charles K., Akron Stockings Baseball Club, 20 points.
Mike says, I'm not sure what this is, but it's pretty cool to discover something, like some kind of ancient spirit. My one concern, composition-wise, is that the tree trunk that crosses the nose. That is a bit visually distracting.
Rick Mills, Carved in Stone, 24 points, third place.
Nadia says, great image and nice light. This is a strong image of Cleveland city skyline. I think this image could be even stronger by bringing the camera height much higher to create separation between the Cleveland sign and the skyline in the background. I would take this again and bring a stepladder with you.
Ron Werman, Cleveland at Sunset, 21 points.
Rudy's comment. The proud owner of a beautiful and expertly restored classic motor vehicle. The satisfied smile says it all. This happy photograph provides an enduring historical record for the owner's children and grandchildren.
John Paganini, Corvette Bob, 20 points.
Mike says, if it weren't for the bird, I would call this a photo of a very absorbed and focused photographer. I would like to know more of what the bird is doing.
Fran Marino, Dave's Difficult Mentee, 19 points.
Nadia says, lovely image. Sometimes butterflies can be hard to shoot since they flutter and move so fast, so nicely captured. The image is a little bright, so toning it down a little would give it more depth. Also, burning down the background darker than the foreground will help keep the eye centered on the butterfly being the brightest part of the image.
Joseph Miko, Eastern Tiger Swallowtail, 25 points, second place.
Rudy says, a vivid photograph indicative of life. When we arrive at the end of our life, will we be burdened with weight we cannot bear and see?
Richard Adder, Feral Cat, China, 23 points.
Mike says, a beautiful and airy shot of a difficult bird to photograph. Great depth of field and blurring where blurring needs to be, sharp as a tack in the important head and beak.
Bill Keaton, I'm Watching You, 26 points, first place.
Nadia says, I like everything about this image. I think darkening the blacks in the image would make this even more dramatic.
Joe Stefano, Into the Milky Way, CPS, 24 points, third place.
Rudy's comment, an attractive and serene photograph of a windmill taken from a framed window vantage. The old window frame adds to the windmill's timelessness.
Bonnie Lusko, Kinderjurk, I guess, window, 21 points.
Mike says, a very vintage-looking picture. They do not look as happy as most couples photograph these days, but they do really remind me of older photos where subjects had to sit still for long exposures. Composition-wise, tree parts behind the man are distractions.
Bonnie Lusko, Kinderjuk Widow, 21 points.
Yep, that was, next one.
Okay, so this Gary's Marsh,
Yeah.
Levy's Baby Shower, 21 points. Oh, it's, okay.
Nadia says, this is beautiful. The only advice to make this even stronger is to crop a little off the top and a little from the left side to off-center the flower's core a bit, which would make it more impactful.
Marge Brady, Lovely in Pink, 26 points, first place.
Rudy's comment. A scenic image of empty benches foreground against a strip of light in the oak forest. The emptiness echoes life that eventually comes to a close.
Leslie Nutt, Meet Me, 22 points.
Mike says a celebration of Rust Belt America. This photo adds cheer to all the elements through the use of strong and saturated color.
David Korsick, Mingo Junction Steel Mill, 22 points.
Nadia says, I like this image and all the colored light. When cutting a subject out of a background and replacing the background with black, remember the light has to be consistent, so adding the colors of the light on the man also to spill onto the background would make it look more realistic. Always add light to a black background. It will show separation between the subject and the background.
Melanie Plummer, Neil Giraldo, 20 points.
Rudy's comment. Fragile life reaching for the sky, the epitome of life's desire to reach out to the beautiful and the unknown.
Susan Mahoric, Orange Cosmos, 21 points.
Mike says positioning the clouds in such a way over the trunk creates interest and mimics a volcano. This gives some interest to an otherwise simpler subject matter.
Jerry Payano, Out of the Ashes, 21 points.
Nadia says, this is a lovely portrait of this woman. I can see her confidence and like the tilt of her head. 2 pieces of advice. One would have been to smooth out the bulky fold in her sweater. The other suggestion is to darken the corners rather than using a white border. White will always take the viewer's items out of the image. Dark borders or burning edges will keep the viewers in the image.
Wally Nell, Paula, 21 points.
Rudy's comment. A dramatically posed pelican against a shabby, contrasting background. The uncanny, dark background amplifies the pelican's features and pose.
Denise Meekins, Pelican, 22 points.
Nice technique and crop, Mike says. Here's a postcard image which would attract many of us. I wouldn't mind staying in this place.
Brian Oradan, Place of Refuge, Place of Refuge, 21 points.
Nadia says, this is a beautiful image, very nicely composed, good detail, good light. The only suggestion I can make is to make this stronger would be to burn in / darken the bottom and around the image to keep the attention on the center of interest on the highlight, on the lighthouse and the sunburst.
Jackie, Portland Headlamp Sunrise, 24 points, third place.
Rudy's comment. A feathery friend is communicating its intention and establishing its territory. The bird-marked streetlight illustrates the unresolved conflict between us and those whose territories we've conquered. I think he means conquered.
Mike Kopkis, quote the Raven, nevermore. 22 points.
Mike says this portrait has no distractive elements, just a tightly cropped, straight-on engagement of subject and viewer. Portraits like this come across as honest. The subject cannot hide in any way, and the viewer is forced to see a minimum of content.
Bryant Mohammed, Reggae Woman, 20 points.
Nadia says, love this image. Positioning the sailboat off-center horizontally in the line of thirds gives it impact. My only suggestion to make this stronger is to apply the same rule vertically.
Jackie Sajewski, Sailing in Golden Light, 25 points, second place.
Rudy says, a striking image of the Seattle Space Needle, an iconic landmark loved by photographers and visited by many.
Maria, The Needle, 20 points.
Bob says this is a picture of two worlds and two times. The window lets us see the powerful present, and the rest is a reminder of what happens when things are neglected. That's a powerful comparison.
That's wrong image, though.
Yeah, it doesn't match what I have either.
That's the next one to be commented on. Do we have the window seat?
This is Rochelle Kovacs.
Yes.
Yeah, the one right before that, Bob Kowaleski's.
Bob Kowalski,
That one.
there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Once again, this is a picture of two worlds and two times, Mike says. The window lets us see the hopeful present, and the rest is a reminder of what happens when things are neglected. That's a powerful comparison.
Bob Kowaleski, The Window Seat, 24 points, third place.
Nadia says, very nice image. I love the sharp focal point and everything else soft. The color harmony is very nice. Only suggestion to make this stronger would be to burn in the edges around the image to keep the viewer's eyes on the center of interest.
Rachel Kovacs, Unwinding, 24 points, third place.
Rudy says, a dramatic image of gnarled vines in a sunlit forest. The dark and twisted vines create suspense amid the eerily silent trees.
Lance Mayer, Vines, 22 points.
Mike says a very well done study. Subject placement and composition are excellent. If there was harder light coming from behind, maybe the droplets would be even more exciting, but this is great as it is.
David Saborik, Yellow Garden Spider, 26 points, first place.
And that concludes our evening. Thank you.